All right, good afternoon and welcome to Go Live. Today is Tuesday, August 26th, and we have a very special Go Live because, as you can tell, we've got Stephen Thomas with us here in the studio. That means it's a very special day. Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you.
I'm very excited you're here with us. And we got our special guest from PHM, no other than TJ Breer. Thank you for joining us.
Glad to be here.
This is your first time with us, is it not?
First time here
Okay.
on this side of the camera.
We're going to make it easy for you, I promise. Don't worry. We're going to make it so much fun, you're going to want to come back.
Happy to.
Stephen comes back every other month, so I promise you, it's going to be fun. You're going to enjoy it. So before we get to what you really joined in for, the numbers that Stephen makes us sound so much smarter than we actually are, what I actually am, because you guys are already smart. We have a couple quick announcements, and then we're going to jump right into it, because I know, Stephen, you have a lot of stuff to help us get through. I know it seems crazy. It's only August, but we're already talking about March. Right? March 2027, not last March, this upcoming March. So I want you to put on your calendars right now, March 2027, March 7th through the 9th, Denver. And I know you're familiar with Denver. You go there quite a bit. You have family in Denver.
I do. My son and wife is there, and we go quite a bit. All my kids went to school there.
I know.
Yeah.
So what is your weather prediction for March?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
That's the great thing about Denver. You could get snow, dumping, and then 3 days later, it's a beautiful sunny day and you can play golf.
So my prediction is they're going to arrive on snow. So they're going to get some of that in the itinerary, right? And then by the time they leave, it's going to be sunny and they're going to have that in their itinerary. A little bit of something for everybody.
We can bet on that.
Okay, we can bet on that. In addition to the weather, though, you're going to want to go because it's going to be jam-packed full of inspirational speakers, peer-to-peer groups, mastermind groups. You're just going to have great social events. It's just going to be a lot of fun. So please put that on your calendar. You're going to start seeing a lot of information coming out from the brand on bulk ticket registrations. Please hold off. Do not buy those tickets because at California Properties, we take care of you. We have our own bulk packages that are going to be coming out shortly. You'll want to sign up for those because we're going to get you special California property discounts. But I just want you to put it on your calendar now because I know you guys are incredibly busy and your calendars fill up fast. On the next slide, I want to just show you. I mean, we have a lot of people that go, and we're kind of a big deal at these things. People like to take our pictures. I don't know why. But there you can see, there's Kyle Kemp. Look at him, so excited. After 18 years of being number 2, there he is, number 1. Could not be happier for Kyle. So number 1 for being the top office in the network. And then, of course, we have some of our agents there, some of our staff celebrating. So please do join us in March of 2027. And something a little bit closer to today, on October 7th, we have Empower Her, put on by our Impact Council. And don't let the name fool you. Empower Her is not just for our female agents. All people are welcome. So TJ, even you can join us. Even you, TJ.
Wow.
Even you.
Isn't that nice?
Special invite.
This is going to be a very special Empower Her. It's going to be up in Los Angeles for the first time. The last couple events we've been doing, we've been in Irvine, been Orange County. We're going to have a very special venue up in Los Angeles on the Avenue of the Stars. If you came for no other reason, you want to check out the venue. The venue is pretty cool. But the topic this year is the invisible load. And it speaks to the fact that some of us are carrying a load and a burden that you may not even know about, right? And that we do it with grace and with dignity. And so we have some incredible speakers. We're very honored that some of our very own have volunteered to step up and share with you some of their very personal journeys. So it's a great networking event. We've got great sponsors. We've got great speakers, great venue. So put that on your calendar. And again, much closer to today, it's October 7th, but it too will be here before you know it. So be on the lookout for more information on how you can sign up. It is $25, but that's just to help us offset some of the parking cost. It is LA, and you know LA. Parking can be we were just talking about parking, weren't we? Parking can be very expensive. So this is just to help us to defray some of that cost. Otherwise, we cover everything else. Our sponsors graciously cover everything else. I do think Prosperity is the sponsor this year.
Well, I'm happy to do it.
You're welcome, TJ. Thank you very much for your sponsorship. We appreciate you. Sure. All right, I think that's it for the announcements. We're going to get right into it. So, Stephen, thank you for being in the studio today.
Oh, for sure.
It's so fun to have you here. It's always great to have you with us, and you're bringing us the most relevant, most up-to-date information.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's jump
do
right
it.
in.
Let's jump into this. All right. There we go.
We are live on
So,
Go Live.
for some fun photos.
wouldn't be a presentation without some fun photos. Point of view, real estate agent on vacation.
That's very true. Sadly, but true.
Or remember when appliances had 0 smart features and they just worked forever? Or I just need to submit this offer and I'll be right there.
Yeah, that's
It was kind of like the first one.
yeah. I smell divorce.
All righty. So for those of you new that are joining us, just a quick, I am Stephen Thomas, reports on housing. I'm a housing analyst. This is what I do and just absolutely love it. I cannot get enough of it. I usually listen to lots of podcasts like on the way here. It was like an hour and 20 minutes, but I was on the phone the entire time with family because got a big family. That's what we do. And we have reports that dot all over SoCal, Bay Area, Vegas, and Phoenix. And I'm about setting expectations. Everybody out there is doing the same thing, setting expectations. I'm just trying to help you set expectations with real data, facts, and stats and all that good stuff.
Set the right expectation.
Right, the correct expectations. And since the last time we spoke, easing into summer, that's just explaining the summer market. Housing values plateau, we'll talk about that. That's where housing values have gone recently. The lull phase, everybody understands. I hear it from a lot of people once we got to June, things like downshift a little bit. It's called summer, but it's also called a little bit higher rates than what we were used to earlier in the year. Then the condo conundrum, that is the fact that condominiums are a lot slower than the detached market. And it's like that across the country. And there's definite big reasons for that. And then AI pricing inaccuracies. If we have time, I'm going to try to jump into AI pricing inaccuracies here. I promise you we'll get to it. It is a very important topic that's coming up. It's getting louder and louder and louder among buyers and sellers.
I will try not to interrupt you so we can get to this topic because I think our audience really wants to hear about that.
Yeah, so reporttonational.com, that's where you get more information, subscribing, $20 per month or $200 per year. And you get a month free if you utilize the coupon code HOT because it's hot.
It's hot.
It's hot for us. We're not used to this weather, but I absolutely love following the data. We have an economic model we follow. Just know that it's constantly changing. This isn't exactly how we projected the year to come around, but that's that nonetheless, this is the year that we have had. So we're going to talk about more of the same. Nobody likes to hear this. This is a bad version of me, AI, but more of the same. Don't expect a major shift in the market. It's kind of going to be, everybody's hearing that loud and clear. So the shift has got to be from us to do more business. That's really ultimately what it is. And for me, it's setting expectations for buyers and sellers up front and getting in front of it all. So here's what we've been dealing with. Now we're going on the 4th year of low pending sales activity. Demand's been low. We all know it. And the 4th year looked like it was going to branch out because we had 6% interest rates at the end of February, but then we had the Iran conflict and everything is now we have a 4th year that's the same. And what we're projecting for 2027 isn't any different. But that doesn't mean we can't do more business. There's plenty of business out there. 5.2 million is the normal number of home sales across the United States, and we're at 4 million. 4 million still transacting. And I hear it from a lot of people. Yep, buyers are no longer buying. Yeah, they are. 4 out of 5.2 million, still a big chunk. You just want to get a bigger piece of that pie. That's really what it's about. So there you go. That's what we have. We have demand that's very, very similar. And you can kind of see it in the year over year. This is 23, 24, 25. And that's just the number of homes that have sold in all of SoCal. And it's very, very similar to where we were during the Great Recession. But the difference is during the Great Recessions, banks were running things and there was a lot of foreclosures. And unless you were hooked up to a foreclosure, a lot of times you couldn't go after and get those regular mom and pop sales. Now there's plenty of them out there. So we just got, like I said, get a bigger piece of it. And we are just about going into the fall market. The fall market starts September 1st. That's like, it's going to be coming up. It's next week. So there we go. And that's when supply slowly falls because we peaked. It looks like along Southern California, the coast, we peaked this last week. And from there, it's going to start to come down. That's most likely the way it's going to go. But supply slowly falls. Until this point, we haven't peaked. What we were having is demand that's coming down and inventory that's gone up. So it's been slowing weekly. And that's why everybody's going, man, it feels a little more sluggish. That's the reason for it, because we have had supply rising. Right now, we have supply slowly falling and we have demand slowly falling at the same rate. That's what we're going to get. And if they're both going at the same rate, that means the market will not further slow. It's going to be very similar to where we've been. And that's just what we need to know. That's setting expectations. And right now, and then once we get into fall also, this is where we start prepping for 2027. All the work we do from here all the way to the end of the year is prepping for that first quarter in 2027 when everything launches. So we've got to get diligent at doing all the right things. And that's when we're really working in our business. You really feel it because the volume of people that are coming to meetings and things changes once we get to September. And so we've got to set expectations. That's really what it is. Proper expectations, like what you were saying, for buyers and sellers, because we need to control the narrative from the get-go, from the very beginning, our very first phone conversation, all the way down to when we meet with them, we're controlling the narrative. If we don't, they're going to control the narrative, and we know how that goes. So we got to do our absolute best to control the narrative. And because buyers think it's 2008, sellers think it's 2021, and I still think I'm 25. Until I get up, my knees hurt. But anyway,
everybody's delusional,
right? Everybody's delusional, including myself. And so we're going to talk about buyers, setting their expectations, what's going on with buyers. A lot of them are fence sitters. They're kind of waiting for something to happen and that shoe just doesn't drop. They've been waiting for the market to implode and values to come down. They're waiting 4 years now that we've had these higher rates. Not happening, even though I argue the volume is so loud on social media from a lot of people that genuinely think that the market is going to come down in prices and values. And so they all expect a housing crash. They think it's just right around the corner, and it's the beginning of it.
Is that wishful thinking, or is that just ratings? They just want to get like bait clicks.
No, it's real, because I get to hear from all the people that are subscribing to that idea. So the comments that I get in all of my platforms, it's delusional. And if there's plenty out there that will feed that algorithm that will feed it, and they're plugged into that narrative. Right. We have to unplug them and kind of set what the real tone is, because we've been right now, they call it a crash now for 5 years, and it hasn't materialized, and it won't, because there's a real stickiness to pricing. And that's the real genesis of this really is, I really feel bad for the millennials and Gen Zs, because they were passed up during COVID when the interest rates were so low, and who got to take advantage of that? Gen Xers and baby boomers. So what they watched are values going up and interest rates now going up. So it's like a 1-2 punch. Mm-hmm. And really and right now it feels like they're hearing that prices are coming down in some areas slightly. And they feel like, oh, this is the beginning of it, free fall. And that's what we're going to hear more and more of. You're going to hear more loudly. The United States could, over the course of the next year, be negative for the year, like negative 1%. And the last time we had a year like that was actually during the savings and loan scandal, which hit California hard. But by and large, the whole United States was only down 1% for the year. So we've only really, as a country, gone down once in value majorly, and that was the Great Recession. That's not going to happen, but that's where they're going to jump to a conclusion, because that's what they remember last happened when values went up. They need to come down, and it's just totally different. So we need to rely on the data and bringing them the data. And when you rely on the data, they can't really refute it. So we got to feed them as much as we possibly can upfront, and it's incumbent on us to do that from the very, very beginning. And this is one of those data points that I got a lot of pushback from the general public, and they say I'm making it too simple. And that is, you have to have the 3 ingredients for home values to crash. Everybody at BHHS needs to make this a part of when they're talking to buyers or potential buyers that are out there. And the general public, we need to educate them. You need 3 ingredients, and we only have 1 out of the 3 ingredients. And this is where I'm getting a lot of blowback. And you need way too much supply. We had that during the Great Recession. It was bad. And I've shown this a million times, but you have to show this thing. Here, I'm giving you a copy of this. We'll get you guys a copy of this presentation. This should be within everybody's presentation, because this is the National Association of Realtors going back to 1982, when the population size was a lot less. And over here, that's the Great Recession. That's way too much supply. Versus where we are today, that's called supply scarcity. We're right now below 1,600,000 homes on the market, and we're peaking. We've already peaked, and versus 4 million homes on the market from 06, 07, 08. 1,600,000 is not enough. And you can see on the right-hand side, population size is bigger. We haven't even made our way back to pre-COVID. And that's what the doomers and gloomers do. They actually say, hey, look at the last few years, how much the inventory's gone up. It hasn't really gone up that much. It's just getting back to where we were prior to the pandemic. It's actually a welcome sign for me. So you need a lot of homes. So we don't have that ingredient. You need low demand. We have that. This is done beautifully by AI, although they put that open house flag in the middle of the sidewalk.
So this is number 2.
Yeah.
Number 2?
This is number 2. You have to have low demand. We do have low demand. This is an open house. They're sitting there waiting for somebody to come by, even though it's just a picture. I know your open houses probably have a lot more people in them, but that we have low demand. We do have that. So that's the only checkbox that they have because of unaffordability. And because of unaffordability, they actually say, well, that's why values have to come down. We have low demand. Nobody's buying. Yeah, 4 million people are still buying at the end of the day. And this is the United States pending sales index. And they release this on a monthly basis, and they talk about how much different it is than last year and 2 years ago and all that stuff. And look at it. It's the same. So when I see that, it's just nothing but puff. They're making hay about nothing because they have to sell papers and clicks and all that stuff. This is way lower than the 3 years prior to the pandemic. And in 2021, it was higher than that green line, the 3 years prior to the pandemic, because we did a lot of transactions in 21. We're just stuck in these doldrums because of where rates are currently at, and things aren't really changing. You can they can talk about all the narratives they want, but this is the reality of it. And this is Southern California. Doesn't it look the same?
I was going to say, it doesn't look much different.
Doesn't look much different at all. Demand peaks during the spring, it comes down. I mean, we go up a little bit sometimes during the fall. It just depends upon the year and where rates are at. Last year, the red line, we had good rates. We went below 6.5% from September 3rd to the rest of the year, and that's with no points. So this is the third ingredient. So we don't have enough homes on the market. You need a glut. We do have low demand. Yes, we do have it, but you need forced sellers. You need people that have to sell. We don't have those. That's the issue that's out there. We don't have people that got into pickles. People aren't going to get in pickles with their mortgages like they did during the Great Recession. The people comparing now to the Great Recession and saying it's going to be worse, tell me that they know absolutely nothing of what led up to that Great Recession. Right. There was a real reason for it, and we're not going to be repeating that because of a million different reasons. And so we don't have a foreclosure volume. Yes, we're higher than where we were during the moratorium, and there are a lot of FHA foreclosures and a lot of people are delinquent across the United States. But guess what? We don't have a lot of FHA transactions here in Southern California. Nope. But even with that, still the delinquency rate is lower than where we were prior to the pandemic. The number of foreclosures lower than, we're just making our way back up towards pre-pandemic levels.
And I think people conveniently forget about the moratorium.
They do.
Yeah.
So then comparing it to the moratorium it's way up from then when we did not.
Although I have had a couple of people say short sales a lot recently. I haven't heard that term in a long time.
Yeah. All relative. In San Diego County, it's actually a little bit more than where we were prior to the pandemic, but not much.
No.
Nothing to write home about.
No.
It's just a little bit, the volume's amplified, but then you go further along the coast and it's not. It's with San Diego County. You go inland and they have a little bit more of an issue as well. And so we're not going to get the plunging prices. I'm so sorry. It's just not going to happen. We're not going to see a free fall in values or anything like that. And this frustrates buyers and people waiting on the fence. They're frustrated. And it gets to a point where, when do they stop believing that narrative? When do they stop plugging into that? And what are they waiting for? At the end of the day, many of them are waiting for lower rates. And I don't know when that's going to happen. And people ask me all the time, we were going to get into the fives. We're going to get lucky to get in the fives this year because on March 6th, a week after they started the Iran conflict, we actually had a bad jobs report and we would have gotten dipped into the fives because we were already at 5.99%. It would have been great. We didn't get there because of Iran, and I don't see us going there anytime soon. So we can't hold out for that. And this just shows you from September of 2022 to here, rates have been stuck between 6 and 8%. The last time we were in the fives was August of 2022. We're in August of 2026. That was 4 years ago. And you could see where rates were lower earlier this year on the right-hand side and where they've been going up, and they're stuck right at around 6.75%. So that's kind of where they're at. But I don't know, when I like to turn it over to the experts. We're going to turn it over to CJ because I like to ask the expert exactly what they're seeing when what you're seeing with the boots on the ground.
Yeah, I mean,
hearing.
You're absolutely right. And I've heard you do this time and time again, and I've never had a problem with anything you're saying. You're right. People perceive that they should wait, but we've all seen that doesn't help. In the foreseeable future, next year, 2-3 years, I personally and the people that I look to don't see any drastic reduction in rates. But let's just say that we did have a drastic reduction in rates. What would happen then? We would have an increase in demand.
Right.
And then what happens? Prices go up. And this is a conversation I have with agents all the time and with prospective buyers all the time, is if you're waiting for something to happen to make the situation better, higher prices, more demand, having to compete with multiple offers, that's not the situation that you want to be in. I would encourage all of the agents to reach out to their PHM rep. We've got graphs, we've got great materials that show what happens if you wait. If rates come down and the prices go up, your monthly payment, which is what it boils down to, is generally going to either be at the same level or more often than not higher by waiting. And once people realize that, once they understand that, then they can say, okay, maybe waiting isn't the right thing to do.
But what if, I mean, we all kind of agree that waiting hasn't worked for the last 4 years.
Right.
So it's probably not going to change anything for the foreseeable future. So we're doing our buyers a disservice by not helping them understand how to work within the current environment we have now, the current terms, the current rates, whatever, the current market that you just described, Stephen. Because they're just going to continue to be frustrated. They're going to continue to miss out on opportunities. They're going to continue to sit on the sidelines, waiting for the day when things do go down and then prices do go up, which probably won't happen, right? And so we're doing them a disservice by just allowing them to continue to beat their head against the wall and continue to miss out on opportunities left and right.
Right.
I think opportunities, that's the key word, because also there are a lot of different options when it comes to financing. You know, we're all talking here about the 30-year fix. There are adjustable rate mortgages, which that used to be something that really scared people after the crash. But we've come back to understand that those are not the same loans today of what people were getting back then. But if you can get into something that's fixed for a 5, 7, 10-year period, that's a long time. And you can get it at a slightly lower rate with a little better payment. At some point, anybody who's buying today, they are telling themselves, I will probably be refinancing in the next X amount of years. So I'm not saying the adjustable rate mortgage is the best option for everybody, because the person who has to be most comfortable with that is the buyer themselves, not me. But it's options that somebody who can explain it and explain the options to the buyers, that's going to put you as an agent in a better position to hopefully get these people into escrow.
Right. At least you're providing them with options.
Information.
The
resource about information.
Because you said it's about the monthly payment. That's what they're looking at, is the monthly payment.
That's right.
Yeah. When they're looking at the monthly payment too, it's like what they need to a lot of people ask me, is this a good time to buy? And I go, I don't know what your finances look like. I don't know what your family budget looks like. If I had my family budget and I met with TJ and TJ said, yeah, this is what you could do. And I looked at it and said, this is what I could do. Well, then I'm pulling the trigger. Right. Because that's what would be the right thing for my family. And that's where we have to bring it down to that monthly payment, meeting with TJ, doing all that. And it's got to be that simple, because what are they waiting for? Another 4 years?
Right. I always say, if not now, when? Yeah. Because if I look back 4 years, and we can go back as many times as we want, there's rarely a time, right, except for when things were artificially brought down when it comes to interest rates, that waiting 4 years or 3 years made sense.
Right. As Chris Kelly says, the best time for you to buy a house is when you can.
Right.
when you can.
100%.
Just do it.
Yeah, 100%.
Get on that rising tide.
That's going to be, I'm going to use that. It's going to be a Stephen Thomas.
Yeah.
There it is. Just credit to Chris Kelly.
Will do.
All right.
Wonderful.
Thank you, expert.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate that.
Of course.
And then now we're going to dive into sellers because sellers, oh my gosh. So we remember when all of a sudden we had really low rates. We had 17 record lows, interest rates, and we hit the lowest in January of 2021, 2.65%. That was Freddie Mac's number that we hit in January. That was lowest all time. That created so much demand. It was just way too much demand. There was so much demand, supply couldn't keep up with it. That's why inventory levels kept on dropping. So what we saw with inventory levels dropping and so much demand is we saw prices just escalate out of control. And then there were plenty of multiple offers and bidding wars. And it was the most unhealthy period of time for real estate that I've ever witnessed, and I never want to go back to. It was just an ugly market where values are going up $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 for every home that was coming on.
22 offers. Our agents weren't sleeping.
Buyers getting discouraged.
Yeah.
Right.
Brides were on their computer at the altar, just like the picture you took.
Trying to find a home.
Exactly.
So that's not what we're dealing with today. That really is not what it is. So that's where their disconnect is, because they think that they're in the driver's seat. That's not really where they currently are sitting. I'm going to show you, this is Zillow House Price Index. I like using Zillow's House Price Index because they actually bifurcate attached versus detached, and they break it down to the zip code. They do all the counties because unfortunately Orange County and Los Angeles County are meshed. San Bernardino and Riverside are meshed most everywhere else, but not with Zillow. So this is why I like Zillow's. You can find out each of the different counties. You can get to the smaller areas of Ventura and the smaller zip codes. It's just a great place to house, and it's free. You can go Zillow research data and you can find this. So this is just it plotted over time what prices have done, and they start in the year 2000, and they show you what values have done. Of course, we got the prior to the Great Recession, the run up, and then afterwards, you're seeing the 2013 all the way to 2019, and the zoom up during COVID, and then since then things have gone kind of flat. It's up 0.8% year over year. That's where it is for all homes combined. And it's down 0.1% month over month. So nothing's really free falling. And this is for Southern California. Now, for Southern California, it's down 0.2% year over year. It's down 0.3% month over month. And then how about for Southern California attached? This is what we need to set the expectations for people that are attached versus detached. It is a conversation we have to have, because if you're a seller and you're attached, there was a big change on August 3rd, and that is no more streamlined Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae. And then in January 4th of 2027, the reserve requirements go from 10% to 15%. And there's a lot of associations that are not prepared for this.
That's right.
And I've actually heard special assessments of like $23,000 for a condominium complex. Can you imagine getting a bill that says $23,000 you owe every single condo owner that's in there? So that's down 2.4% year over year. And it's down 0.6% month over month. And for detached, it's down 0.1% year over year and down 0.2% month over month. So where our value is coming down more, it's the attached. So, but this also tells you that we've kind of plateaued in values. It was going up for a while, and now it's kind of flat, and it has a lot to do with interest rates and the number of homes that are on the market starting in 2025. So sellers aren't in the driver's seat. As a matter of fact, right now, I would say buyers are slightly in the driver's seat. I called it it's a buyer's market, a slight buyer's market. It just means that buyers, not that values are going down, they get to control the conversation a little bit on negotiations, unless it's a true turnkey property. And we'll get to that in a second, but that's the expectations that sellers should have going into this marketplace. And why is it slower right now? It's due to home affordability, as it requires home affordability is income and it's prices and it's income, wages, and interest rates. So you have to use all three of them, because I have a lot of people go, interest rates were a lot higher in the past. I really don't care. You can't plug in the prices of where they're at today. So the prices are just so high that you can't have an interest rate at that 9% or 18% that they talked about. Plug in 18% and no one can purchase today.
Exactly.
So I did this, and I updated this for Southern California. This is California Association of Realtors comes out with a median detached price for Orange County, San Diego, Ventura, and it's for Southern California. And I did this for all of SoCal. And what this is you plug in the interest rate, Freddie Mac's interest rate for the month, and then you plug in the median price, and then how much, if you put 20% down, how much of a home how much is your payment going to be? Wow. And you could see for the median price home, it got down to $1,963 a month during COVID. And that's because we got these record low rates, even though values were going up. And then you see where rates started to go up in 2022. Now look at where we're at. On the very right-hand side, it's kind of plateaued in 2023, and it's kept pretty high right now. As of July for Southern California, $4,565 per month for the median price home in all of SoCal versus $1,963. So that is more than a doubling, and that is where the millennials and Gen Zs are having a problem. I just show people this so that we need to educate sellers as to why demand is a little bit less.
Right.
It's because payments have doubled. When
It'd be interesting to see what the median price was at each one of those.
Yeah.
So, that's a lot of numbers I know already on the spot, right. But that would be interesting.
It is, and to watch what values did. You
exactly.
can see how they skyrocketed. So as values skyrocketed and you plug in this higher rate, that's really what happened. Because in 2021, we still had low rates, and we were already going from 1963 to 2552, but we were hitting all-time record low rates at the time as well. So even though
2.9.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, so it's a very balanced market where really their buyers and sellers are both pulling. Sellers are pulling back because they don't really have to sell, but buyers are pulling back because of home affordability. And so that's creating like this crossroads between buyers and sellers kind of duking it out. And there have been a lot of homes that have been delisted. And this has to be part of our conversation upfront with the sellers to understand that, what does this mean when there's this many people delisting off market? Yeah, it got to a low during COVID in January of 2022. But then if you look on the left-hand side, that spike was in 2018. But and homes pulled off the market. But you can see that where we're going on the right-hand side is we're in many, many markets, we're at or above where we were prior to COVID, as far as the number of homes pulled off the market, yet we're placing fewer homes on the market.
So higher percentage. Does this account for relist? Do you pull that out?
Yeah, we can't. It's a little bit more methodical to track that, but that's exactly what was happening at the end of 2018 and different times like that. It's just that you have a lot of people that can't really. That what this tells me really is, yeah, you have the relist and refresh, and let me tell you, that is not smart. Because buyers, they are ready for something new that comes on. That's not something new when they pull it off and come on.
No, I just wondered if it spoke to how serious the seller was. Like, do they really need to sell, or they're just put it on there and seen? And is the agent uncovering the true motivation behind the seller?
Yeah, we don't have enough data that goes back. There is some data that a real estate company has pulled that is actually public knowledge, but it only goes back to like 2013. So that you do see it because they talk about the numbers that relist. The number that relist are actually lower than what you think, because we had a great number of people cancel last year. And you plug in what we have this year, it's a very, very similar number. But inventory levels are a little bit less than where they were last year, even though we had that many people cancel. So there are fewer homes coming on the market this year compared to last year, slightly.
Interesting.
So super interesting. What this tells me, actually off market, this tells me that sellers that lack motivation, even if they have to reduce the asking price and come back on, they've lacked the motivation to do what was right up front. Because that's where, stop putting cushion into that price. There's no such thing as cushion. You don't have to accept any offer $1 less. You really don't. You don't have to accept these offers that come in. I just want to place it at a price where we're going to get offers. What this is a recipe for overpricing.
Right. Not a good negotiation
strategy. Yeah, not good at all. How about testing the market? This is not the market for testing the market either. Like, I think I just want to see if I get this price. Well, then you have to ask yourself, are they really motivated to do what it takes down the road? Did they buy something else where they're going to have to sell? Maybe they're testing right now. We have to find out what their true motivation is. And because it's all boils down to precision pricing, I talk about this all the time, the importance of pricing. And the reason for this is because all buyers are connected to their apps, they're connected to the internet, and they know everything that's coming on. So they're looking morning, noon, and night. And I felt it even in 2019 when I was looking for a new place. I was on it quite a bit. So was my wife. And when something new comes on, there's an excitement. So you only have, how many shots do you have at tapping into that excitement as a seller? One. That's it. When you first come on. So what you do is you look at the virtual tour, you look at all the pictures, and then you look at the price, location, and all that stuff. If you get excited, you want to go see that property, and that's that feeling you have. You can only tap into that once. A lot of sellers miss it by overpricing it, or they didn't do what it took to get it sold, like the red room. I remember this one, I still remember to this day, in 2019, this one house that had a red room, they had to go down in price. Even if you pulled off the market and place it back on, they keep track of that stuff. You could actually see that as a buyer. So does that really help you? They already know the property. They're not going to get wowed when they see it again, when it pulls off in a couple of weeks, comes back on there. I know that property.
It had to be a red room.
Yeah, right. It was.
Could increase the price on some products.
So what we have to do is do whatever we can to make the house, if they have the means to do that, a showcase home. If these are truly turnkey, because that's what millennials and Gen Zs want, nobody wants to spend money once they move into these houses. Very few. So as a result, we got to make these turnkey and ready to go. We stop rushing to list these properties, get them to sign it, and push that, pound that for sale sign into the yard, because at the end of that's a dog.
Yeah.
How about let's clean it up and get it ready? Let's spend that extra, even if it takes 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it is, you're working on your seller's behalf on maximizing that first impression.
Right.
Because those are the ones that sell with multiple offers when they're priced right and they're showcase homes. They sell. And most everything that sells above the asking price, which is a big chunk of the market even today, are the homes that take all the time to prepare for coming on the market, are priced right, fly out.
I'm going to come on the market. Well, fortunately, our agents know that they have Elevate and Pinnacle and our Home Ready program.
That's
so they can prepare their homes for market without any money out of pocket.
And that's a gigantic advantage in this marketplace.
Yeah. If you don't know about it, talk to your manager or your marketing coordinator and find out about it today. But they all know about it already.
And this addresses that. And then we talk to them, and then they know we're not in a rush to list your home. We want to get you sold for as much money as possible. And these are the steps that need to take place. That's the dialogue we have to have. Right. We're controlling the conversation. Speaking of controlling a conversation, now we're going to dive into don't trust AI with your home value. Again, we're controlling the narrative. And really what this boils down to is, okay, what this is, they're just automated valuation models that even AI is plugging into, because these are the original AI. If the OG AI has been doing it for nearly 20 years, is Zillow. They've been perfecting their algorithm as much, or their what they call it's linear regression, coming out with the right price based upon all the inputs, and they're trying to hone in, maximize the value that they get. And I have not done a report like this for a long time, but it was eye-opening when I did it. I did a report on this, the most recent one on AI, and they get it wrong. Property was listed at $675, but it's going to sell for $599. They were way overpriced. Or the reverse. They were listed at $599. They could have got $675 if they're going to truly rely on Zillow, because Zillow is that off, and Zillow has perfected it the most. And they're basically AI. It's just that people are in love with their AI, and they put everything in their AI, and they're wrecking deals by putting the home inspection in AI, these buyers, and asking for it to come out with the laundry list, and then bring that to you have to bring that to the seller's agent and the seller, and they're going, this is going to blow up the deal. So that's where we have to set the expectations. I'm just showing you, they actually, if you go to Zillow.com/Zestimate, they have their errors. They don't have them for the smaller markets like Ventura and Santa Barbara.
They post their errors?
They do.
They do.
And they talk about it all the time.
Really?
But their errors that they talk about are the active listing errors. And I have to explain what this This is what blew my mind. Active listings is what they do is after you list the home, they redo their estimate. It's called cheating. I just didn't say it in there or my video. Why? Because I don't want to be sued, but they're really cheating. At the end of the day, that's what they're doing. They're cheating because they took your information, your pictures, all your text, everything, all your homework,
And update it.
redo their estimate, and then they come up with a new active listings estimate.
Like,
So
oh, no, we just kidding. This is the new one.
yeah.
Yeah, this is the new one.
So they change it. And so when they're quoting 1.76, I think, for the country as their error rate, sounds really good for a $500,000 house. Even for like this, LA, it's 1.9% for $1 million. That's plus or minus 19,000 is what 1.9% means. So if they say million, could sell for 981 or $1,019,000. So, and then for San Diego County, they're even better, 1.64, 16,400 off. So it's 983.6 to 1,016,000. You're going, well, that's pretty close. Yeah, but the problem is that's not what you relied on to list it.
But isn't also, those are active. I'm more curious to know about the ones that have sold.
Me too. Those are called off-market homes.
Okay.
So those are active, but what they're talking about active is anything that was active that they redid their estimate and then it closed.
Okay.
So then once it closed, then they look at it and they say, how far off were we? So their average for LA and there is 1.9% off. And for San Diego, it's 1.64%. That's after they adjust it.
Okay.
For the properties that, you have properties that sell off market and they put it in the MLS for zero. Those are called off market homes. Now they didn't have they couldn't recalibrate.
They didn't get a chance to.
They didn't get a chance to. How far off are they there? Well, they're off 7% for across the country. In LA and Orange County, it's 6.69%. In San Diego, it's 6.2%. So I'm going to give you for all of California. And that's where they're off by 1.79 for active listings. So that's between 982 and 1,017. Sounds good. But how about off market? They're off by 6.53%, which is $65,300 error plus or minus.
It's a big commission.
But look at 934,700 at 1,065,000. Is that accurate? You can't price your home based upon that. They need you. They need the professionals.
Right.
AI just sugarcoats it with they trust their AI. I even have an agent right now that I went back and forth with it says, no, I've got it down in Claude. And then I looked to see what kind of transactions he did. And he's just doing condo, cookie cutter, small things. And he did like 3 transactions in the last year. Understand that you might get it right if you're asking it, but by and large, they're not accurate. They're not at all.
From my perspective, and I think this is really good data because when you're a listing agent going after listings, what's the most important thing that you can give that prospective seller is accurate information. Right. So someone may come in and say, I can get this much more, or I can get, this is the price. But if you give them the confidence that you're giving them the best, most accurate data, as a seller, that's who I'm going to go with.
Yeah. And that's why we have to control the conversation up front.
Right.
We need to actually, with AI, especially buyers and sellers, we need to talk to them about, great that AI got you to where it is today. You need to unplug from AI.
Wasn't it you though, a couple of sessions ago that said before you go on the listing presentation, go into AI and do a couple prompts because your seller probably did that and you want to go into the meeting knowing what the seller's already done in AI so you're prepared.
Yeah, I've never recommended it. It might not have been me, but I think that is a good idea. I actually want to know what they do, but I still want to control the conversation because I want them to unplug from AI completely. After seeing this, it actually opened my eyes even more. And I just did this report. And it's interesting to see. I don't know. Have you done it? Where you've looked at through AI, what they say? They give all these ranges and different things like that. And they're pulling from, where are they pulling from? They're just pulling from the Zillows. They're pulling from Realtor.com. They're pulling from the Redfins and all that stuff. They pull from that. And then that's where they hone in the price based upon that. Right. And they sugarcoat it and they're able the AI is able to put it in the way that it reads where it sounds reliable.
Right.
It's not.
Must be true.
Yeah. But we've often said that, because of the ambiguity, because of the inaccuracy, that is why our buyers and sellers need our agents more than ever. AI is not going to replace our agents. They make our agents more valuable.
Sure.
In all honesty.
Yeah, there's more tools. It's like a tool, is really at the end of the day for our agents. Because really, So this just shows you, and I did this for the report. That just shows you how off they are for active listings. Looks very accurate, but that's because they got to recalibrate and cheat. How about the off-market homes? That's what we got to do. This is why I put together this report so that people would understand that you just can't rely on it. And why? Why can't you rely on it? Because they have no idea what's going on underneath the roof. No idea. And there's ambiguities that they can't really that they can't uncover, and agents will know local information that they won't know,
Right?
Because they're the local pros. And what can't they get? They can't get condition upgrades, craftsmanship that was done, lot characteristics, views, privacy, floor plan, deferred maintenance, curb appeal, location nuances, buyer perception, overall presentation, remodel, amenities, odors. Does it smell like a dog? Presentation and staging, seller motivation, competing listings. And I actually asked if you were doing the linear regression model AI, what would all of the pieces that you'd put into it? Because I just listed 18.
Mm-hmm.
How many would you put in? 100. There were 100 prompts that they'd want answers to in order to accurately, which you can't do, because the prompts they were saying were things like this. Nobody can put this in. A professional agent, because of the nuance of understanding value and all that stuff, is probably your best AI. It's between these ears. And this is why we have to set the tone up front when we're sitting down with them, explaining why they cannot rely on AI for understanding anything.
Right.
And so Zestimate did it themselves. They actually, when you go to that Zillow.com/Zestimate, they actually have a disclaimer. And on that disclaimer, it did used to say seek a professional, but now they pulled that out, even though they've totally been raking in the bucks from us as an industry. But they say it's a free starting point. And then they say it can't be used in place of an appraisal. Why? Because they don't want to get sued. And they get it down to macro area really well. Like, that's because there are lots of different properties. When you have lots of properties, now it gets more accurate. They just can't drill it down to the one roof. And even though AI sounds good, and I mean, I have an Alexa, she talks back to me all the time. And when I put things onto the grocery list, it makes it humanized. But I tell my kids, you cannot fall in love with this at all. And a matter of fact, I don't care that she thinks I have something yummy that I'm putting on the grocery list. I actually don't want to hear that. But
You don't need that, Steve.
yeah, I really don't need that. But that's where it's made it more personal. So they almost look like they turn to it like Encyclopedia Britannica, and it's not. I've argued with AI. They do not get data down right. They really don't. I really had some confrontational back and forth.
AI is like, oh, I don't want to go to Steven's house again.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, it's like, how did you arrive at that value? And, oh, you wanted that value? Yeah, that's called the answer to what I was asking you.
Poor AI.
So, and you can see it in iBuyers. Zillow had an iBuyer platform, and they lost $1 billion doing it. So they couldn't rely on their own estimate on properly pricing it. So they got out of that. Open Door, same thing. They're not a profitable company, and they too have had lots of issues. So iBuying, there's nothing that replaces working with a professional agent. And this is Ryan Serhant. Everybody's heard of this $50 million deal.
Yep.
And that's where buyer goes, hey, am I paying too much for this $50 million house? Yes, you definitely are. And then the seller goes, am I getting enough for my $50 million house? No, you are not. And that's because it's going to give you what you want to hear.
Right.
And that's the problem with AI. You can't rely on it for the data. It's broken. For each individual house. For the macro areas, it's not, because there are not enough prompts. You have to put in all the information prompt-wise in order to arrive at the right value. And that no one's going to be able to do that.
Thank goodness.
So it's misinformation. That's really what it is. So that's why we have to bring this conversation up front with both buyers and sellers, because they all can't rely on all that. And AI is not going to give them the answer. So instead, they're going to have to rely on an appraiser, and they're going to have to rely on you, who can dissect the comps and know the nuances of the area and the neighborhood, and understand prices as you go comp by comp and arrive at the fair market value so you actually get sold. So that's what I have. I was make sure that we had enough time. So I do have a nerd lab. We started Stevenomics. That's the kids came up with that. Stevenomics, and what that basically is I'm trying to teach people how things work. I just did one on the Federal Reserve. I talked about the seasonality of real estate. So you can go to Reports on Housing on YouTube, and I have a section on Stevenomics. And then Nerd Lab HQ is the ability to go into the back end of our website. We're going to have nerdlabhq.com. You can go in there and you can get information on downtown San Diego or even though it's part of all of San Diego City, but we do break it down by the areas. You can get these various different areas and then get graphs and charts and analysis on what's going on in these various areas. We've been working on that for a while. This should launch when we start our 2027 forecast tour at the end of next month.
Oh, you have a 2027 forecast tour.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be getting to your offices. We're going to hit the offices.
You are always welcome, Stephen. I love your logo.
Oh, thank you.
I love the logo.
Yes, we did that.
AI. Okay, so you like AI for certain things.
You got to lean on it. It's a great tool. It just won't replace what we're doing. It's not going to replace white collar workers. Has it done that yet?
Nope.
No, it hasn't. And that's because that was the doom and gloomers. They came out with that just like the housing crash. It's not going to happen. It's a great, great tool when used properly. So you could go to reportsonhousing.com to subscribe. It's $20 per month or $200 per year, and you get a free month if you utilize the coupon code HOT.
I remember. HOT.
So I don't know if there's any questions.
I don't know if there are questions, but let's while we wait for questions to come up, if any.
Yep.
TJ, what say you? What words do you have after hearing all of that?
Well, I think the rates in the market, I couldn't agree more with what you have to say. I think, that you as an agent, that's your value to sell for buyers or sellers. The knowledge that you have, breaking it down to neighborhoods, properties, that sort of thing. I also, on the buy side, would really encourage people, agents, get your buyers pre-approved and fully underwritten through PHM. You want to be as competitive possible when you're making offers. And this really, some homes are going to be more competitive than others. You want to put yourself in a position. So using our competitive edge, you can have your loan completely underwritten. We do the on-time close guarantee, which for the seller and the agent means that we're going to pay them $15,000 each for the agent and for the seller if we don't close that transaction on time, because we do all the heavy lifting ahead of time. Also, for those people who think, will I be refinancing? If we have them underwritten under this competitive edge, we also waive all lender fees for refinances within the following 3 years. Wow. So it's a great tool to get you in a better position, to take any doubt. If you've got that W-2 salaried employee, maybe there's not that much doubt. It's still nice to have the fully underwritten, but we do a lot of complex buyers in this market, and getting all of that out of the way and putting you in a position to close quickly and efficiently.
Even if they're not complex buyers, I love the fact that get that out of the way, so that way when you're in escrow, you focus on the house
100%
and investigating the house. I have a good friend who's going through escrow right now, and she's dealing with all the inspections and all that stuff, and doesn't have to worry about the loan, right? Because she's got all that pre-approved. She took your advice, and so that's not even an issue for them, right? Just focusing on the house.
And that's whether it's a complex or a simple first-time home buyer who feels a lot of stress and anxiety through that part of the process. We've taken that out of the way. Also keep in mind, we'll do a soft credit pull. So that's you want to get rid of barriers, right? Well, I don't want my credit pulled. We're going to do a soft credit pull to start. So that takes away that barrier. Nobody's going to know we pulled your credit. It's not going to affect your score, but we're going to put you in a position to win.
Since Stephen brought up the fact that he thought, sellers are not in the driver's seat, thank you for bringing that up, and that it might be slightly more leverage for the buyers. Talk a little bit about, buyers and getting maybe sellers to pay some of the points. Because if we're all talking about affordability and the monthly payment that the buyer's focused on, how can the buyer look at the seller, maybe helping the buyer get maybe a monthly payment that's more comfortable?
Yeah, that's a great point. So the concessions, right, that was unheard of a few years back. You want a seller credit, you're not getting that. Now we are seeing a lot more seller credits. And where can you apply that? Certainly strictly to closing costs, but buy downs, permanent buy downs, or the 2-1 buy down, which has become very, very popular. Again, people who think, a couple of years down the road, rates are going to come down. But in the meantime, what we can do is if you're starting off at a 6.5%, what that 2-1 buy down means is you're going to start that first year with a payment based on a 4.5% rate. The second year based on a 5.5% rate. And then you're going to go to that 6.5% rate. It's a 30-year fix. There's nothing changing there, but it gives you that relief in the beginning and gets you to the point where you're going to be comfortable getting into that.
And down the road, if I want to refinance, I can refinance.
Anytime.
Yeah.
And their incomes are going up over time too. Everybody forgets that.
That's
2019 to 2026, incomes went up 25% across the country.
Exactly. And so if you're not that comfortable now, even though you do qualify, because you're going to qualify based on what the rate is today.
The rate 3 years from now.
But you're going to feel more comfortable with it now. Incomes go up. If you're somebody who's just getting out of law school, or they know they're going to make partner, or they're going to start earning bonuses or whatever, as you say, they're going to be much more comfortable down the road.
Yeah. All right. So 2 great programs: the on-time close guarantee and the 2-1 buy down.
Right.
So talk to your PHM loan officer in your branch.
Do.
Stephen, we're going to check out Lab Nerds.
And Nerd Lab.
Nerd Lab.
It's coming. It's coming soon. We are. Everybody be nerd. That's my bottom line.
With your help, we'll get there. All right. Thank you. Oh, wait. Do we have a question? I don't have much trouble with real estate because I always resell and make money. Dolly Parton. Oh, my goodness. I love it. Oh, you know what? That is perfect. Okay. Do I have to say it as Dolly Parton?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Okay. I don't have much trouble with real estate because I can always resell that and make money. Did I say it right? Okay. Thank you, David. That was a great reminder. That's a perfect segue because on my way here, I happened to be listening to the news, and sadly, I heard that we lost an icon today. So I thought, did you know that Dolly Parton over her lifetime wrote 3,000 songs?
It's amazing.
Wow. She wrote 3,000 songs, and she had a career. She died at 80, and she had a career that started when she was 10. She was the 4th sibling out of 12. And so she's known for her singing. She's known for her philanthropy, but she's also known for her quotes. So let's pull that up. So a couple of weeks ago, we did a quote from Jimi Hendrix. So I'm branching out a little bit. So trying to keep it interesting. So our quote from Dolly is, "Storms make trees take deeper roots." So I thought, Stephen, I liked what you said. The shift has to come from us.
Right.
Stop waiting for the feds to do what we would like them to do because it doesn't seem like it's going to happen.
Right.
So if you want the market, it's a challenging market. It's going to cause us to drive deeper roots. Challenging markets make great agents even better agents, right?
Amen.
So let's take a lesson from Dolly that storms causes trees to get deeper roots. So rest in peace, Dolly.
Bless her heart.
Yeah.
Bless her heart.
Bless her heart. Yeah, bless her heart.
That's not, you don't say that. That's a negative thing. You say, bless your heart. That's not a good thing. Anyway, thank you, everybody. We will see you next Tuesday. Thanks for joining us. Bye, everybody.